Hello. So let's talk about taking control of your finances. If you want to take a minute to pause this to read the blueprint there with the helpful information, go right ahead. However, I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the application problem. And whenever I am solving an application problem, sometimes it can be overwhelming because there's so much information there and it's not a straightforward just math problem. So what I do is I read the whole thing clear all the way through. And then I go back and I read the underlying question after I've read the whole entire scenario. And I go back to see what does it really want me to do here? And then let's go back and re-break it down. So Calvin is not rich, but he gets by and he loves sitting down for a latte at a college coffee shop. With tip and tax, he usually spends $4.50 on average, or excuse me, on a large latte. I was going to say on average, but so this is saying they usually buys a large latte. It's costing him $4.50. He gets at least one per day. So gets one per day so far on average. And about every 3 days, he gets a second one. All right. So go back to the underlying question and wants to know how much is he spending per year. So we're going to do this in parts. We know that there's 365 days in a year times that $4.50. So let's multiply that out. We're going to get $1,642.50. That answered this one part. However, it said that that was one per day, but every 3 days he gets a second one. So let's take that 365 and divide it by 3 and then multiply that by that $4.50. I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses. So when I do that, now we have another spending of $547.50. Now we're going to add both of those together. And that will be the total cost per year that is spent on just lattes alone. And of course, you'd make a statement. Calvin spends $2,190 on lattes per year. Okay, so let's go to our next one. Our next one says Cassidy has recently begun keeping her spending under control, but she still cannot fully pay off her credit card. She maintains an on average monthly balance of about $1,100, and her card charges her 24% annual interest rate, which it bills at a rate of 2% per month, which makes sense because if I take that 24 divided by 12, we're going to get back that 2%. And I'll show you here in a minute. So how much is her spending on credit card interest per year? So we're going to focus on how much she's spending on just the interest a year. So if Cassidy was to pay more than the minimum amount each time she makes a payment, the numbers will lower, but the interest causes it to keep going up. So credit cards and student loans and any type of loans, but definitely student loans and credit cards, if you're not careful, you don't ever get out from under them. So you got to find that right balance where you can pay off a large amount at a time because the interest is constantly causing that number to grow, if that makes sense. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you have that $1,100 here that she owes and all she pays is the minimum, then she's just making a small portion of a payment toward it, but the interest brought it back up. Okay. So let's solve this. We know that 24% divided by 12, because there's 12 months in a year, you make a payment each month, which is 2%. And that's where this came about. All right, now let's take this 2%. And of course, to undo the percent, you divide it by 100%, or you could just move the decimal 2 places to the left. That's a shortcut. So I can go 1, 2. So now I'm going to take that $1,100 I'm going to multiply it by this right here. So 1,100 times 0.02. That's around $22. And that's the amount of interest for 1 month. Okay. So if I take that $22 and I multiply it by 12 months, then that's how much interest that's occurring for the year, not counting that 1,100 on it. So $264 is the total interest for the year. Now, if that 1,100 went up, if Cassidy allowed the amount to be 2,000 1 month, the interest would be more that month, right? And it adds up. So that is quite a bit. All right, let's move on to this next application problem. Make some room. Okay. It says here Rebecca spends $20 every week on morning Coke and $240 per month on food. We're going to compute the total cost per year for each expense. So we know that there is 52 weeks in a year. We're going to take that $20 per week and multiply it by 52. And when we do that, we get 1,040. And then we're going to take that 240 per month and multiply that by 12. And that's 2,880 per year on food and on soda. So let's do our next one. Our next question says, oh, on part B, I took up that space, guys. It says on an annual basis, the first expense is what percent of the second expense? All right, let me erase my math work here. So what we're going to do is we're going to write it exactly as it reads. It says first expense of the second expense. So the first one was $1,040, and we're going to divide it by the second. And then, of course, we're going to multiply it by 100% when we're done. And it would yield 36.11%. Be sure and watch the rules on, or what's asked of you on the rounding. There you go. So 36% of the first expense is of the second expense. Okay. So I'll let you play around with the question 2 on your own. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Let's go on to example 3. Example 3 says, find the monthly interest payment for the given situation. You maintain an average balance of $850 on your credit card, which carries an 18% annual interest rate. So let's solve it. We are going to take that $850. We're going to multiply that by the 18%. Well, I took this 18%, divided it by 100%, or you can move the decimal 2 places and to the left, because we got to take it out of percent. And we're going to divide this by 12 because it said annual interest rate. So let's do this right quick. I got 850 times this fraction. And I get $12.75. That is the monthly interest for this situation. B says, Brooke's credit card has an annual interest rate of 21% on her unpaid balance, which averages $900. So let's calculate that one. We got the $900. We're going to multiply by 21%. We're going to convert it to decimal form by either dividing by 100% or moving the decimal 2 places to the left. And we're going to divide it by 12 because it said it was annual interest. So I got 900 times that fraction. And that's going to be $15.75. All right, take a minute if you want to pause it to read over this blue section here. And let's move on. It says, in addition to your monthly expenses, you have following college expenses that you pay twice a year. $3,500 for school tuition per semester, $750 in student fees each semester, and $800 for your textbooks each semester. How should you handle these expenses in computing them into your monthly budget? All right, so let's go back. We know what we're solving for because what the underlying question said. Always make sure you understand what it's asking for, then go back and pull out what you need. It says we're going to pay twice a year for the next. So I got 3,500. I'm going to times it by 2 because we're paying it twice a year. We got 750. We're paying twice a year. And then fees each semester. Okay, that was a 750 and 800 on textbooks each semester. Now what we want to do is add them all up. And when we add all 3 of these fees up, the charges, the costs, the textbooks, tuition, we get a total of $10,100. And now we're going to be able to put it into our monthly budget by taking this $10,100 divided by 12. And let's do that right quick. And round to the nearest cent, meaning that it is money. So whenever we talk about money, we're going to round to the nearest hundreds, 2 decimal places. Now, up there in the previous one, I didn't put no change. It was just because it was 0 cents. So we really don't have to put the decimal with the change there unless it really asks you to do it anyways. All right, let's move on to this next one. It says that Brianna is creating a budget. The expenses she pays monthly are $700 for rent, $125 for gas, $140 for health insurance, $75 for auto insurance, $25 for renter's insurance, $110 for a cell phone, $130 for utilities, $300 for food, $250 for entertainment. In addition, over the entire year, she spends $12,000 for college expenses, about $1,000 on gifts for family and friends, about $1,500 on vacations, spring and winter, $800 on clothes, $600 on gifts to charity. Her income consists of a monthly after-tax paycheck of $1,600, and she gets the $3,000 scholarship that she receives at the beginning of the school year. So this $3,000 is a one-time, but it's not a payment, it's just scholarship. Find her total monthly cash flow. All right, so we got some work to do here. So what we got, we're going to take her expenses. Let me give myself some room here. I'm going to need it. Let's see. Let's move this down here, guys. 1 second. Thank you for being patient with me. All right. So for the expenses that are not monthly expenses, calculate their yearly costs and divide that cost by 12. First, we're going to add up all the monthly expenses. So I know that got rent, $700. The 120 for gas, 140 for insurance, health insurance, 75 for auto insurance, 25 for renter's insurance, 110 for cell phone, 130 for utilities, 300 for the groceries, 250 for entertainment. And when we add this all up, let's do it right quick. It's always good to double check your math. I encourage you to do it by hand, and then you can use your calculator to double check your answers, but I'm just saving time right now. So a total of 1,850 per month on just those alone. Now, the second, we're going to calculate the monthly cost for yearly expenses. So we have a yearly expense of $12,000 for college expenses. This is over the entire year. Okay. And then we have 1,000 on gifts for friends and family. We have 1,500 for vacation. And then what do we have next? We have 800 on clothes and 600 on charity. So let's add those all up. And we're going to come out with $15,900. It's quite a bit, guys. All right, so what we're going to do is take these two expenses here. We're going to take that $1,850, add it to, whoops, let's write the $1,850 down. Get my eraser going. There we go. Let's take the $1,850. Let's add the $15,900. We're going to get $17,750. All right. So now we are able to calculate Brianna's total monthly expenses by adding the two monthly expenses like this. The thing is, let's look at it right quick. In addition, over the entire year, there's one step here that I didn't do. Let me highlight this. This one was per month. This one, it said entire year. So we can't add those two together. So if you caught that, yay, good for you. Let's figure this out right quick. If this is monthly, and it's stated up here, this was the entire year. For this next set of expenses, we need to divide this out by 12 to get a better estimate if they factored it in per month, all right? So if I did that and I take that 15,900 and divide it by 12, that's a breakdown per month, right? So that breakdown should be 1,325. So let's go back here and add on 1,325. So when I take that 1,850, add 1,325, we are at 3,175 per month for just these two alone. Now, you could have took that 1,850, times it by 12, and you would have had per year, and we could have added it to that 15,900. We can do that as well. So just remember what we're working with and read the application problem. You might have to go back and reread it. It's easy to make this mistake. It says her income consists, so we're right here, Her income consists of $1,600. All right. And then this $3,000 is a scholarship she receives at the beginning of the school year. So this here needs to be divided by 12 because we're going to factor that in per a percentage per month, right? So if I take this, add it to 3,000 divided by 12. Now, if she spends it this way, that's a different story. But if she took that $3,000, divided it by 12, and sparingly it out throughout the whole year, this is what we would get, right? So we have 1,650 plus, now we're going to use parentheses, divide 3,000 by 12. And it's a total of, oops, hang on a second. 1,600. I said 1,650, guys. I didn't mean that. 3,000 divided by 12. There we go. It's 1,850. So her actual income for the month is 1,850. Let's look at that. If she's actually got 1,850 coming in, that's including the scholarship money. And just think about it. That scholarship money won't be around all the time, right? So that's per month. And she's spending $31.75 per month. She is actually in the hole, right? Actually in the hole, what? 1,850 minus that 31.75. So in the hole, a negative 13.25. So this is not good spending, right? We'll have to like downsize. If you wanted to take that 15,900 and said that we're going to take it and subtract it from the 1,850, you could do that. That would still give you a negative balance of 14,050. But just remember that the 15,000 is per year, where this here was per year, where the 1,850 was per month. Okay, so let's go on to our next example. It says, to prorate the following expenses and find the corresponding monthly expenses. During 1 year, Jason takes 15 credit hours for each of 3 quarters. Tuition and fees amount to $600 per credit hour. The textbooks average $350 per quarter. So let's take that information that was given. We have $600. And we're going to multiply that by the 15 credit hours. And we're going to multiply that by 3 because it said it was 3 quarters. When we do this, we get 27,000. Now I want to take the 350 here. It says per quarter, and we know there's 3 quarters. Says textbooks average $350 per quarter. We're going to multiply that by 3. And we're going to get 1,050. Now, let's add those two up. The 27,000 plus the 1,050, we get 28,050. Now what we want to do is divide this by 12. So we know what per month, and it's going to be 2,337.50. Okay. Now let's go to part B. Part B says Randy spends an average of $25 per week on gasoline and $45 every 3 months on the daily paper. So let's compute that. We're going to take this 45 every 3 months on a daily paper. And 25, okay, so that's every 3 months on a daily paper. So trying to show you an easier way to do this. I want you to understand it. If I took the 45 and let me just 1 second. I kind of skipped the 25 and that threw me off. Let's do the 25 first and let's come back to this. It says 25 per week. So we know it's 25 times 52 weeks. All right. So we got 2,340. Now on this $45 one, it said that it was every 3 months. We know there's 12 months in a year, and we're going to divide that by 3. Some of you already know what that answer is. It's 4, right? So it's 45 times 4. Gives me $180. And now let's add the 2,340 to the 180. And we get a total of 2,520. And now we can say, this is going to be per year. So take the 2520. And let's divide that by 12. And this will be per month. So it'll be $210 per month. Okay. Let's do our next example. It says, using the given table, find the person's net monthly cash flow. Assume that the salaries and wages are after taxes and assume 1 month will equal 4 weeks. Okay. So we have this table here. It says part-time job is $1,200 a month. Student loan is $7,000 a year. Scholarships $8,000 a year. We got expenses. Rent is $600 per month. Groceries is $70 per week, and tuition is $7,500 per year. Health insurance is $40 per month. Entertainment's $200 per month, and then we have phone, which is $65 per month. All right, so let's work on this just a little bit. First thing is I noticed the income. Let's check out the units that are on the income. We have month and we have year. So what I want to do is take that $1,200 there. That's per month. And I want to go ahead and multiply that by 12. When I do that, I got it in per year. And once I got it in per year, now I can add on the other two, right? I can add on the school stuff. Now you got to remember, this is not really true income because it's not always around, and the student loan is something you got to pay back. So be careful with that. So first things first, before I do that, yeah, I was going to say we can add it on. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it now. Let's get it out of the way. So when we add these two together, we get what? 14,400 plus 800,000, 7,000. It should have been 15,000 added to it. All right, it is 29,400 for the year. Now, if I divide that by 12, I'm going to have a breakdown per month. So if I wanted to put it in per month, let's divide it by 12, which is 2,450 per month. So that would be my income per month. All right, now let's figure out, I'll try not to get where I can't see it. Let's figure out the expenses. Whoops. All right, let me rewrite this, guys. 1 second. All right, now we have $600. We have the $40. And let's look at it right quick. We want to make sure we're in the right unit. I scrolled up too much. So the 600 is per month. We're going to add the 40 per month. Let's add the 200 per month and the 65 per month. So whenever we add things up, you know they have to be like terms. And since they're all months, we can add them together. If their units were different, we'd have to do some kind of converting. Oops. Okay, so it's $905 per month. Okay, so now that I got that, let's take this 70 that's per week. I'm gonna take that $70 per week. I'm gonna multiply it by 52 weeks. And we should get 36/40. So that's per year. We got it in year. And then we can divide it by 12 to get it per month. 1 second. Let's leave it alone for 1 second because that's 1 year. Let's leave it that way for a second. So if it was $70 per week, I just wrote it 70 times 52 puts it in per year. Right, because there's 52 weeks in a year. We could have just said 70 times 4, right? And put it in per week because it just said up there at the top, we're going to assume that 4 weeks equals 1 month. So let's do 70 times 4. That should be 280 per month. I'm just going to make a little note here that these two, so I don't re-add them twice. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and say, what else do we have next? We have, what do we got that we have left to calculate right quick? So we got our income taken care of. So this is income. This is $905 as monthly expenses. We just got this as monthly expenses. Oh, let's add that 905 to that 740, right? Or I mean, sorry. It's $905 to the 280. So 905 plus 280 will get me all my monthly expenses. So it's a total of $1,185 per month. So this is my total monthly expenses. I'm gonna put total here. All right, so now that I got that, I can see everything's in the month. So let's go back to our question. Is it wanting it just per month or per year? This is use this table, find the person's net monthly cash flow. Oh, okay. Okay, so we're just staying in per month. I mean, you could do this multiple different ways. You may see on my notes it was done per year, right? And went back to per month. This way is a lot easier to me. This is just keep it in per month. All right, so we're good. We got all of our expenses added together. Oh, I forgot one right here. I knew something didn't look right. The 75 per year here. Let's take that 7,500. I said 75, but 7,500 per year. And we need to put that in per month. So if I take that 7,500, I'm again. There we go. We're going to divide that by 12. $625. Now we need to add this to that right there. And then we'll have our total expenses. I knew something didn't look right, guys. So here's our total expenses. All right, so we're going to take that 1185, add 625. And 1 second, let me add it all up. Yeah, 1810. So that's the total for the month. Let me highlight. This is the total income for the month, and this is the total expense for the month. So that's not too bad. I mean, you think about it, they have a balance that's not in the negative. So $24.50 is what they bring in for the month. But remember, they're counting on their student loans and their scholarships. That's not always there. Plus student loans, you eventually got to pay back. And subtract the 1810, leaves you with an extra savings of $640. Yay. Okay. So the monthly cash flow is going to be the difference between those. So the difference, the monthly cash flow would be the 640 when you subtract them both. Let's look at this one. It says we're going to use long-term. We're going to talk about long-term financing here. Let's scroll down. So Jorge commutes both to his job and to school, driving a total of about 250 miles per week. His current car is fully paid off, but is getting old. He spends about $1,800 per year on repairs, and the car gets only about 18 miles per gallon. He is thinking about buying a new hybrid that will cost $25,000, which he gets 54 miles per gallon, and should be a maintenance free aside, because when you get a new vehicle, you're maintenance free for a while. After the newness wears off, you're just going to start replacing stuff. Now, it wants to know, should he purchase the new car? So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down. We come back up here and says that he's driven a total of 250 miles per week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 250 miles per week, and I'm going to multiply that by 52 weeks. The weeks reduce, leaves me with just 250 miles times 52. So that gives me 13,000 miles in that whole year. Now, we're going to take this 1,800 per year for repairs. I'm going to add that to the annual cost of the car for 1,800 based on the price of gas. So we got $13,000 for the price of gas. And it says his car gets 18 miles per gallon. So now I'm going to put X beside this because I don't know the cost of the gas, right? Because it's anywhere nowadays, it's $2 something up to $4. So I'm going to say old car cost. Okay. So now that I've got that set up, let's go ahead and say, okay, let's create our equation for the new car. The new car says that we have $25,000 we can buy it for. And it says he's thinking about buying a new hybrid cost of $25,000, gets 54 miles per gallon, should be maintenance free. We're going to assume, let's see. Okay, we're going to take that, what he drives. This is what he does. So we're going to assume the driving is not going to change. And we're going to divide that by the 54 miles per gallon. The annual cost of the new car based on the price of the gas per. So I'm going to put an X by this here because I don't know the price of the gas. Divide it by 5. I'm going to come back to that one. We're going to call that my new car. Okay. Thank y'all for bearing with me on this. I just want to double check a few things right quick, and then we'll move on to solving this application problem. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish solving this, and I can come back to you with more information about what I was looking into. Oh, okay, good. Let's go back. There was a small thing that I missed when I read this. It talked about over 5 years, over a 5-year period. So that is where this came from right here. Oh, sorry, on my pen right here. Okay. Yay! I knew there was something I was missing. Now, let's scroll down and let's finish this up. So what I'm going to do is take my old car. And I'm going to set it greater than or equal to the new car. Let's see if it's going to let me do this. Stop messing it all up. Okay. So what is my new car equation? And old car new equation. We just got it right here. So I'm going to take the 1,800 plus the 13,000 divided by 18 times x. And we're going to say greater than 25,000 divided by 5 plus the 13,000 divided by 54. Don't forget our x with that part. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we need to get all the variable terms on one side and all the constant terms on the other side. And then we're going to do our basic math. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead, and you can put these in decimal forms if you want, leave them in fraction. Just be careful if you put them in decimal when you round. I want to move all my variable terms to the right. So I'm going to say, okay, let me change this. I want to subtract this 13,000 x divided by 54 to both sides. And I'm going to subtract the 1,800 from this side to this side. So what happens? It causes, my apologies, I keep losing my pen on my paper. It causes this to go to 0 here, and this goes to 0 here, and that's what we wanted. Now let's just rewrite it and make it a little bit neater. So now I got 13,000 divided by 18 minus that 13. Whoops, don't forget our x. 1,000 divided by 54, x greater than 25,000. And you could have reduced this minus 1,800. All right, I'm going to scroll down, give myself some more room. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and see about combining this first part over here together. Whenever you do that, you got to have common denominator. And I notice, well, before we do that, let's go ahead and take that 13. Let's just rewrite this side down. But I want to, rewrite it in a format where I can focus on the fractions here in a minute. Now, the 25,000 divided by 5 years, I'm going to rewrite it as 5,000 minus the 1,800. And we can go ahead and say 5,000 minus the 1,800, and we get 3,200. Now let's come over here and focus. If I rewrite these fractions to where they have the least common denominator, I see that the least common denominator is 54. I don't have to change this fraction, but I do this one. And I know that 3 times 18 gives me 54, so I have to multiply top and bottom by that 3. 3 times that 13,000 gives me 39,000 minus that 13,000 divided by 54. So now let's just do that. 39,000 minus 13,000 divided by 54. And we get, in decimal form, we get 13,000 divided by 27, x. Don't forget our x. Now let's bring down the rest. All right, so now we need to solve for x. Okay. So if you wanted to go ahead and turn that fraction into a decimal, go ahead. Make sure you have at least 2 decimal places. The more you have, the better it would be. So I get 481.48 x, or you could have left it in fraction form. If you leave it in fraction form, you're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal to get a positive 1 coefficient on x. So you could do it that way, or you can leave it this way. Either way, just be careful with your rounding, okay? So now, if I choose to leave it in this one format, I would divide by that 481.48 because I need a positive 1 coefficient on x. And we'll get, and I'm going to round, so we wouldn't do let's round to the nearest cent. So we got x is greater than $6.65. And you could double check. You can say, oh, okay, I wanted to do that 3,200 times that 27 divided by that 13,000. And it gives you the same answer. Just some digits are a little different, but you still round to the nearest hundreds and you get the same answer. So the price of gas will need to be $6.65 before the annual cost of this new car is less than the annual cost of the old car. And then you have to decide which one is a better deal. We have one more example to do. I'm going to leave that for you to practice on. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.